Now, let me share with you something from the Arizal. Arizal says something very scary. In Sha'ar Kavanot, he says that each drop of semen, there is a soul that is brought into the world. And what happens is if this is brought in a forbidden union, it could be either through a forbidden union with another, with the opposite gender, or it could be just, forbidden union by just wasting seed by yourself. This causes all these life forces that are in there to be captured by the evil side. And what happens is now these souls that are captured, these kidnapped souls, they want to haunt the man that brought them into this despicable state of impurity. So what they do is that they keep on trying to cause him trouble, the person that wasted his seed. And this could lead to, depression, poverty, marital strife, problems with your children, and a long, long list of other tragedies. Now think of it, through every, ejaculation, according to science, it's between 2 to 300 million sperms. Which, just if you think about that, the fact that you're here today, which means is, you're one in like 300 million. You are able to make it over here, which means is that you have the ability to overcome everything, especially this sin. If you think this sin is difficult, think about what you had to overcome and what did you have to accomplish in order to be here where you are today. So, think of it, you have, in every time that you see, you have millions upon millions of these souls that just want to attack you, damage you, and hurt you in all, any which way or form, which is why in Israel, they don't allow people, the general custom is, especially in Yerushalayim, that if a father gets buried over there, they don't allow the children in the cemetery. One of the reasons is because these children made it into the world, but there's a bunch of other children that didn't make it into the world. So the other children see the live children, and they get very, very, much, I don't know what the right word is, but they want, jealous. Yeah, jealous would be a good word, and they want to attack those ones. So for safety of those, they actually keep them out, and that's the custom. They don't even, the children, the sons, don't come into the burial with where their father is buried. So besides that, all these these demonic beings, they also cause one to have nocturnal emissions, wet dreams as well. The Kaf HaChaim says also that from all the sins in the Torah, none of them create demons like the sin of wasting seed. Like, this is like the top of the line. And not like, there's some people, I gave the demons class, they're like, oh yeah, well, that's cool, where are the demons? I want to talk to them. They're not like your buddies that you could do stuff and be like, hey, listen, get me a Coke, I'm like, they're there to hurt you, to harm you, they damage you. They're called mazikim, they're damagers. That is their name. Their name is damagers. So it's not something that you would want. And this is one of the things that causes the most in the Kabbalistic sense to come to bring bad influence to you. The Zohar says like this also. It says something crazy, that after this despicable act, it says on each and every hair on the person's face there are tens and tens of thousands of demons. He actually gives a number of 80,000 demons that are sitting over there screaming impure, 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 and want to cause a lot of problem. And these demons, the only way that they can be killed is only through tshuva. So the Kav HaYashar says like this. He says in chapter 61, somebody who goes after the desires and pleasures of his heart is going to for sure stumble in the sin of wasting seed. Someone who's always after his desires, can't hold himself back. I can't do anything. I'm helpless. Those people, that they're dating a certain girl and they're like, what is it called? Whipped? I can't. I'm just helpless. I can't do anything. So the same idea. Like, if you're going after every single desire, you're like, yeah, let me do this. You cannot say no to yourself. That means that you're going to for sure end up sinning in this sin as well. Okay, it says the Kav HaYashar. The Rambam, in Hilchot Deot, says that a person is very much pulled by the nature of his friends. So how your friends are, and then this I hold very, very important. How your friends are is how you turn out to be. And the idea is that if, let's say, you have a bunch of friends who speak about, this sin as if it's a common thing, like, oh no, it's healthy, and they say it as like, oh yeah, I'm going to do with this, and they speak about it in such normal terms. So then your mind, it's like becoming, okay, it's not such a big of a deal. And I'll give you an example. Like this. I'll give you an example. This is from people that spoke to me. So there's a certain person that is in a very, very bad work environment. I'm talking not bad work environment like illegal stuff, like stealing, things like that, but illegal in a different manner, in sort of immoral, relationships, let's just call it like that. And so when they first come to hear about it, they're like, what? That's what they do? That's disgusting, that's crazy. But then they hear this person does it, and then they hear this person does it. So It's still taboo, it's still bad, but it's like, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's like, I'll give you an example. When somebody goes and somebody's, is doing some sort of sin, right? Let's say, for example, somebody's going and somebody is, has pre-marital relations with a woman that he should not be having, and so right in the beginning he hears about someone hears that he's doing that. He's like, oh my God, that's terrible. That's a terrible sin. But then he hears, well, I have a friend that also does that. So then it's like, it's not so bad. And then the more that you hear people doing that, it becomes less bad and less bad and less bad. This is the idea when you hang around drug addicts. It's like, at first you come in, you're like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But then you're like, well, this guy's doing this and this guy's doing that. I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to touch it, but, it's bad. And then, and then eventually what happens is they're like, there's a little bit of extra Coke left in the line, and then you're like, all right, whatever, and whatever. And then you just, I'm just tasting. I'm not doing, it's like the line always pushes depending on who you're hanging around with. So it becomes a normal thing.
So just a very technical, but also I'm sure a very source-based question. So is there a difference between, I guess the way a person weighs seed, whether it's, with
a woman and with
individual?
Yeah.
Because I know you could even weigh seed with a wife, technically.
Yes. So we'll speak about that. We'll speak about, we will speak about the whole idea of wasting seed. We'll also, B'ezras Hashem, hopefully speak about with your wife not at the right time, dating a non-Jew, having relations with someone who's considered a zona or a servant, it's like the prostitution. So we'll B'ezras Hashem speak about all that, God willing, hopefully. We'll get to that today. So. There are many people, and by the way, that category, let's say somebody who's sinned with his wife or with a non-Jew or with anybody else, that's all under the category of wasting seed, but a little bit, little bonus bad extra. So the same in a bad way. It's not in a good way. It makes it all that more worse. And not only that, so everything I'm saying right now, it's just a little bit more, that. So the Kabbalists tell us also that somebody who's who falls in this sin, he is constantly getting insults, humiliation because of their immorality. Had they go and they guard their covenant, then this person's going to be treated with honor. So somebody likes to be treated with honor. You want to have respect. You should know that this is one way to get respect from people is by guarding your brit, by staying holy. And the Chidah says also, you should know there are some people that say, okay, listen. I'll hang around with girls, I'll hang around with whatever, the opposite gender, and I'll do this thing, and it's not going to happen. I'm going to look at whatever I want to look, it's not going to happen. I could control myself. Says the Chidah, he says that you should never say that because even that could come out through the urine. And that also is a big problem, and also counts as wasting seed. So people go and they bring themselves to temptation, and then they think because they don't waste seed,
granted it's not on the same level, but because they think they're completely okay, and it's not.
The Rashi says on Er and Onan in Bereshit, in Parashat Vayeshev, chapter 38, verse 7, says that Er and Onan, they both died. Why did they both die? Because they wasted seed. They didn't want to get, Er was the oldest one. He was married to a woman by the name of Tamar. Tamar was very beautiful. He didn't want to impregnate her, so he would waste seed so he wouldn't get her pregnant. And because of that, God killed him. God took him out. That was his punishment. His brother went and married his sister-in-law, which is what according to the Yibum. And from that, he also wasted seed. And because of that, he also died. So we see here the severity of the sin. Also, it is it's also forbidden for somebody to willfully cause himself to have an erection as well. And if somebody has bad thoughts come to his mind, he has to immediately go and learn Torah. Because where do thoughts come into the mind? Mind that's empty of Torah, of wisdom, is filled up with other things. The mind has got to be filled up with something. If you're not filled up with anything of Torah, then it's going to fill up with whatever's in the environment, and that's something you definitely don't want. It says something here very, very scary. It says the Gemara in Ida, in page 13a. And it's also in a Midrash Hagadol. Parashat Vayeshev. Rabbi Yochanan says like this: somebody who weighs seed deserves the death in the hands of heaven. That's not something like all right, whatever, I'll do tshuva, I'll do it. This is something that you better do tshuva soon. Death in the hands of heaven is not a light matter. Rabbi Yitzchak says, same Gemara, that it's considered as if he spilled blood. The Zohar says that this is even worse than murder. Why is this worse than murder? Usually when you're murdering, let's say usually you're not murdering, but if someone murders, they're usually murdering somebody else's children. Here you're murdering your own children. These are your own children, your own souls that should be coming onto this world, and you're destroying them. Rav Ashi says also that it's considered as if somebody worshipped Avodah Zarah, idolatry. Where do we know that you're not allowed to have immoral thoughts? There's a pasuk in Dvarim, in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 10. When it says over there, when a camp goes out against your enemies, you shall beware of everything evil. Says the Gemara in Ketuvot, page 46a, that what does it say? That you should guard yourself from all evil. Pinchas ben Yair says that one should not think immoral thoughts during the day, because that's what comes out at night. Guess what's going to happen at night? That's what's going to lead to. Which means is that there are many people, unfortunately, that they have wet dreams, nocturnal emissions. Now, sometimes it could be because of a position and that, but many times it could be because of the thoughts that you're thinking during the day. What are you watching during the day? What are you looking at during the day? What are the thoughts that you're thinking during the day? And this could lead to that sin as well.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.